Imagine standing inside the courtroom of your country and feeling like a stranger. The language alien, the rituals colonial, and the soul missing, and justice lost in translation. Welcome to the next hearing. I am your host Amod Bidhuri, and today we are diving in deep into the design, psychology, language, and soul of our courts. To ask a fundamental question: why do Indian courts feel so foreign to the Indian soul? This episode isn't just for lawyers or judges, it's for every citizen who has ever stepped into a court and felt like an outsider. Let's begin. Let's begin with what we can see: the architecture, the environment, the courtroom. High podiums, long benches, echoing halls, black robes, white bands, Latin mottos, imported furniture with imported values. Now pause for a moment and ask yourself, does any of this feel Indian? Or does it feel imperial? You see, Indian courts were never built for Indians, they were built for the British to rule over Indians, to command, to punish, to instill fear, not faith. These were not temples of justice, they were outposts of the empire. Their design, their rituals, their language, all borrowed, all alien. Our constitution may be Indian, but the courtrooms still feel like London in disguise. Now let's go back in time, not to 1947, but much earlier, to the Savas of ancient Bharat, where justice was public, open, sacred. Disputes settled under the shade of a tree. Wise elders, ethical reasoning, no robes, no podiums, just dharma. Contrast that with today's intimidating courts, bureaucratic, hierarchical, cold. Does it feel like a house of justice or a fortress of law? That's the question, because when the form alienates the citizen, even the fairest content fails to connect. And that's where the disconnection begins. Let's move deeper. Now let's talk about language. What is the first thing a litigant hears in court? May it please your lordship, or my lord the petitioner prays. Now ask yourself, is this the language of the people? Or the poetry of colonial past? Most Indians think, feel and dream in their mother tongue. Yet justice is argued in English, orders are passed in English, laws are drafted in English. We have created a judicial elite that speaks a language most Indians cannot access. And here's the irony. In the land of hundreds of languages, justice is trapped in just one. Language isn't just a medium, it's memory, identity, emotion. When you remove the language of the people, you remove their soul from the system. Can a farmer from Rajasthan or a tribal woman from Odisha feel heard in a courtroom that speaks like a queen? This isn't just a barrier, it's a wall. Justice isn't blind here, she's just fallen. Let's go back again to the village assemblies, to panchayats, jansabhas, where every word spoken was understood, where truth didn't require translation. Why should truth today need English to be valid? When the language of justice alienates the people, the system becomes performative, not participatory. That's why Indian courts feel foreign, because their words don't echo our words. But it goes deeper still. It's not just the language of speech, it's the language of power. Let's explore that. Let's now turn to rituals, courtroom behavior, postures, robes, titles, procedures. May it please your lordship, your honor, if I may submit. Standing, bowing, speaking only when spoken to. Now ask, whose justice are we performing, Indian or Victorian? These rituals were not born from Indian soul and soil. They were imported from British theatre. Yes, courtrooms in many ways became performance stages, and justice, a scripted drama. Robes meant to symbolize neutrality now symbolize hierarchy. Judges elevated on high pedestals, litigants made to look up, not look within. Bar and bench terms that feel more like barriers. Form over soul, procedure over truth. This is not to say rituals are bad. India is a land of ritual, sacred, meaningful, soulful rituals. But ours were built to connect, not to command. To elevate consciousness, not to suppress presence. The current rituals disconnect. They make the litigant feel like intruder in a foreign temple, where the priests speak Latin and the gods don't understand your prayers. Justice, when stripped of soul, becomes theatre, expensive, alienating, elite, where performance matters more than participation and dignity gets reduced to formality. Now pause and ask yourself, why should a mother fighting for her child need to learn court etiquette to be taken seriously? Why should a poor farmer be judged by how he bows, not what he says? These rituals were never meant for us, but we continue to obey them like loyal actors. And in doing so, we lose the plot, we forget the soul. Let's go to the heart of it now. Justice isn't just about form or language or space, it's about what it feels like. Let's not talk about something deeper, not architecture, not language, not rituals. Let's talk about the feeling. Because justice is not just a system, it's a sensation. A just citizen either feels seen or feels small. So let's ask, what does the average Indian feel when they walk into a courtroom? Confusion, fear, insecurity, awe. Not reverence, but intimidation. Not dignity, but discomfort. From the moment they enter, they feel out of place, like they have trespassed into someone else's world. The language doesn't belong to them. The rituals don't belong to them. The space doesn't belong to them. And so, neither does the justice. It becomes a place where the powerful speak and the common man waits to be told what his fate is. It's that what justice is supposed to feel like. Let me ask you, if a poor woman from a village walks into a court, should she feel like she's entering a temple of truth? Or like she's entering a palace where she doesn't belong? If a young man from a tribal community comes seeking justice, should he feel empowered or should he feel like an outsider? This feeling of foreignness is not an accident, it's a design flaw. Worse, it's a colonial hangover. Indian courts weren't designed to listen. They were designed to instruct. They weren't built to include, they were built to control. And even after independence, we changed the masters, but we didn't change the mention. This is why courts still feel like the last place to find justice for the very people they were meant to protect. It's not just the law that matters, it's how the law makes people feel. And right now, it feels like a performance by the powerful, not a platform for the powerless. Let's now ask the real question. What would a truly Indian court look like? What would justice feel like if it were rooted in our civilization? Let's reimagine that together. Now let's dream forward, let's reimagine. Not as a critic, but as a custodian of something deeper, dharma, nyaya, justice. What would a truly Indian courtroom feel like? Close your eyes and picture it. You walk into a space and you feel welcomed, not watched. You feel invited, not interrogated. The air doesn't reek of authority, it breathes respect. There's no unnecessary bowing, no forced English, no elite vocabulary, gatekeeping truth. You speak in your own language, you heard in your own voice. You are seen as a citizen, not a subject. Imagine a court where truth is not buried in procedure, but revealed in disguise and a dialogue. Where dignity is not measured by formality, but by respect for your story. Imagine a judge not perched above you, but sitting across from you. Still elevated in responsibility, but not distanced in humanity. Imagine a legal process that mirrors our sabhas, our panchayats, where consensus was sought, where collective was honored, where justice was participatory. This is not a fantasy. This is not a memory. This is a civilizational recall. Because before, the British taught us how to perform justice. We lived it. We breathed it. It was embedded in the dharma of our daily lives. It's time we stopped asking, how do we reform the courts? And started asking, how do we restore the soul of justice in Bharat? Not just by changing furniture or language, but by changing the feeling. A courtroom must feel like a place where truth has centured, where power is humbled, where people feel sacred, and where justice feels Indian. Let's reclaim that. Let's build that, not just as lawyers or citizens, but as descendants of Dharma. Because when Indian courts start to feel Indian again, justice will no longer feel foreign. It will feel like home. So if you have stayed with me till now and you are already feel what I am about to say, the Indian court doesn't just need a reform. It needs a return, not backwards in time, but deeper into our civilizational essence. Because justice is not a British import, it's a Bharatiya instinct. It lives in our itihas, in our Gram Sabhas, in our everyday sense of right and wrong, honor and duty, truth and consequences. It is time we stopped treating Dharma as mythology and started building institutions that reflect it. The courtroom of future must be built not just with bricks and laws, but with spirit, with language that uplifts, with rituals that include, and with power that listens. Because when a citizen walks into court and says, "This is my system," then and only then will justice stop feeling like a colonial luxury and start becoming a civilizational birthright. My name is Amod Vidhuri and this was The Next Hearing, where we don't just record the law, we reclaim its soul. Until next time, stay sovereign, stay rooted, and never stop asking, whose justice are we really performing?